Hi folks, I wanted to make a follow-up video after the last one where I showed Diane Sawyer's Brave New World. And as I said in the video about Aldous Huxley before that one, is that you can probably go into your search engine, into YouTube, and find Diane Sawyer's Brave New World, but it wasn't there. So what I did was made it a video. So if you look at my channel, you can see that video. And this video is going to explain how the RFID chip works. Now, RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. And basically, just like your smartphone can track you and knows your location, just like how you can use navigation with it, it's linked up with satellite, and it shows you on the screen where you are. And also, I guess the phone companies or other agencies can also know what your location is because it's constantly tracked. Now, let's say you take your phone and put it into a mailbox somewhere and send it over to the middle of, Timbuktu. Then, they couldn't really know where you are if they're tracking you that way. But with the chip implanted into the person, it's like having a permanent ankle bracelet. Just like when a criminal goes out on parole, sometimes they make them wear an ankle bracelet. Just like in the movie Transformers, where the star of the movie had to wear I think it was Transformers. One of the guys, he's the same guy from Transformers, he had to wear an ankle bracelet. So here you'd have a chip implanted inside of you forever, just like a criminal would have. So if you think it's a great idea, well, you're just, it's almost like you're willing to just be a criminal. You haven't even done anything. But I guess that's what someone's opinion is. I don't know. So I want to go back to this song I'm playing. It's called Telestar by the Tornadoes. Check this out. You see, in 1962, NASA launched a satellite called the Telestar with Bell Laboratories with a rocket called Thor. And I'm sure Werner von Braun, with his rocket ingenuity, was in charge of getting that satellite into space, and was connected with Bell systems, so you can make worldwide communication phone calls. There you go. So they made a song about it, and that's what the song represents. Okay? Now, in 1962, John F. Kennedy made a speech while he was the president, actually warning the populace about particular societies and groups who are running things under the radar that wouldn't be in the interest of the average citizen, especially if you had an idea of what your future and happiness would be. These people really didn't care about your happiness, but this is something you might want to consider. Okay, so with this satellite going into space, it was a great way to have a doorstep into putting a giant surveillance on the population. That is to say, if everyone's chipped and tracked by satellites, then that's a way you can keep everyone under surveillance. And this even ties in with your global warming issues, where there are world leaders or world governments or unelected officials, rather, that say that people should pay a special tax for their footprint because of the greenhouse gas they emit. And I believe having the chip would be a way of paying this tax, because the more you breathe and the more you release whatever it is you release from your body, it's going to tie in with your smarter world from IBM they want to build a smarter world. That's really just a world where every activity you do is monitored and taxed appropriately or accordingly. Now, in 1964, there was a movie called Dr. Strangelove, And I mentioned that in another video, from Hitler's SS to Disney World. And that movie was done by Stanley Kubrick. Now, Stanley Kubrick is probably one of the most important directors, I'd say, of all time, next to Fritz Lang, the director of Metropolis, which I spoke about, because they're not just showing you movies for your sheer entertainment, they're actually giving you fair warning. But in this particular movie, Dr. Strangelove, it was basically about World War III nuclear annihilation. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of one of the characters played by Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers played 3 characters in Dr. Strangelove. He played the President of the United States. He played an English lieutenant or soldier. And he played a character named Dr. Strangelove, who basically was one of the Nazi scientists who came to America, and here's his depiction of him. Okay, remember, this is Peter Sellers. Now, in this particular picture, I hope you can see that all right. You can see he's having trouble with his hand. It's a black and white picture, so it's a little hard to see. But this is kind of, he has like an iron hand, kind of like the character from Metropolis. The scientist had the iron metal hand. It was robotic. And here he's trying to control his arm. He's trying to keep his arm down. You know why? Because in this particular scene, he's he's doing the Hitler Nazi salute, and he's trying to keep himself from doing it. Now here's a picture of Werner von Braun upon his capture. This is Werner von Braun, and I guess he was in some sort of accident because he broke his arm and shoulder. And this is his picture the Americans took when they caught him, or when he surrendered. And you can see his arms kind of in that position. So here's a little clue that Stanley Kubrick was giving its audience that was secret. Okay? So I find that to be pretty interesting. Just in that movie alone, they seem to reveal things that the general public really didn't know. I guess it was their little inside joke. Because they knew what was going on, and the world has no idea what's going on. Well, here's a picture of the Telestar. I guess it was made by Bell Laboratories. You can see the scientists working on it. There it is. And it looks a lot like the Death Star from Star Wars. If you remember that movie, they had the Death Star. There it is, where Darth Vader lived. And they would just blow up your whole planet from there. They can just do that, and there'd be a great disturbance in the universe. So, I just wanted to present the facts. Oh, and by the way, one last thing I wanted to mention. I wanted to start off the beginning. But NASA is selling its launch pads, okay, from the Kennedy Center. Want to buy a launch pad? NASA is selling. Space program looks to put defunct buildings to use. Now, if you're familiar with the entrepreneur Richard Branson, the Englishman, you know that he owns Virgin Airlines, among other things, but he was suggesting that he's going to be providing space travel to the wealthy. So now, if you have enough money, you can buy your own NASA launch pad, and I guess you can probably just, if you have enough money, buy a space station and buy a space shuttle, or lease one, to fly you to the space shuttle. Just like in that movie Asylum with Matt Damon and Jodie Foster, where in the future dystopia, the people on the earth are just ruled and policed by robots, and the wealthy people live in a spectacular space station in a paradise. And that's a lot like that movie Metropolis. So there, you see, these things are all tied in together. So anyway, that's what I think about, and I want you to think about it too. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care.